Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to Lesson 10 of this series, Learning C++ by Making Games. In this video, we'll go over random number generators and how to seed those random number generators. This video has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors like Nemian Games and Archaic Methods. In this video, we will go over the dark truth about random numbers, the rand function, and how to initialize and seed our random number generator. So now, the dark truth about random numbers. There is no such thing as a random number. Without special hardware, we can't actually generate random numbers, or truly random numbers. And in fact, this is still debatable. Without quantum computing, and even then, as I said, we're still not sure we can generate truly random numbers. What we can generate is pseudo-random numbers, and the goal of this is to generate a number that looks random enough that we cannot tell that it is not random. But there has been a recent scandal, for example, with several casinos having caught programmers selling software that can determine when a slot machine is going to spit out winning combinations. Now, we can control how random the numbers appear by controlling our seeding, or the seed that we use when we generate our random numbers. So how do we get a random number? Well, we use the rand function. The rand function generates a pseudo-random integral number. This number ranges between 0 and rand max. Now, any green word you see in this video is a keyword that can be used in your programming. Now, rand max is a library-dependent number, but it is guaranteed to be at least 32,767. Many modern computers have much larger numbers in their libraries for this. Now, this number might seem massive, but we can control what number we actually use. And we can do this by using a modular operator. So if we input rand modular 10 plus 1, we will return a random integer that is between 1 and 10. Now, when we want to use the rand function, we need to use a standard library header. The rand function is in the standard library. For this reason, I have included a link to a page that details more information on the standard library header. But before we can use our random number generator, or our pseudo-random number generator as the truth is, we have to initialize rand. And we initialize rand by using srand. This is called at the start of the code, and we place in the brackets an argument. This argument is the seed. So, what are seeds? What is seeding? A seed is a value that determines where the random number generator, or pseudo-random number generator, begins to pull numbers from. This can be fairly deterministic. Using a value of 1 or 2 or 666 will result in the same values being called in the same order each time. Don't worry if that doesn't make sense quite yet. I will go into more detail on this in a moment. Alternatively, we can make it seem more random by using more complex algorithms for our seed, such as using the computer's elapsed time or using the microseconds on the computer's clock. So let's put this all together so it makes more sense. A pseudo-random number generator like rand is deterministic. Think of there as being a long list of numbers, and the computer is just picking a number at random. You can find random number tables in the back of several stats textbooks if you're interested in seeing what a list of these numbers look like. They even have instructions on how to use them to generate what appears to be pseudo-random numbers, or what they'll argue as random numbers, by hand. Now, a seed is the way in which the computer determines where to start picking the numbers from, and that is determined during the initialization process using srand. If we use a value like 200 or 1 or 3 or 666, which is useful for debugging purposes, the sequence remains the same each time. That means if I start a program and my seed value is 200, it will pick a random number, or pick a number to start with. It will pick a second number when I call it again, and a third number when I call it again. If I close the program and then reopen it, the first three numbers it picks will be the same numbers as the first three last time, and every time thereafter. So that every time the program runs, I will know that this number will come up first, this number will come up second, and this number will come up third. This is rather deterministic, and we can see the lack of true randomness in this. Now, if I want to make it truly appear more random, I can use time. In which case, I don't know the sequence that it's going to show up each time unless I start the program at the same exact moment according to my computer's clock each time, and that is just not possible. So that brings us through the concepts we need to know in order to generate our random number for our guessing game. These same concepts will be used when we pick random numbers for our hangman game. Our random numbers will determine which word we're going to use. So in our next video, what we'll do is we'll actually make our random number for our guessing game, and that will help finish out the first iteration of our very first game. If you've liked this video or this series so far, go ahead and hit that like button down below. It really does help the channel out. YouTube really eats up those likes. If you want to make sure you're here for the next video or the next section of the series, make sure to hit that subscribe and notify icon. And finally, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.